just want to take a minute to share with you our commentary from the other side of the tracks.
Welcome back to Socially Speaking.
So I'm out driving. I'm delivering food for a living. I'm pretty much an unemployed person. The gig economy is just a very simple way of saying to Americans, you're unemployed and your prospects are few to none. I mean, doing this type of job is nothing short of, oh God, I want to say slave labor, even though they call it independent contracting. And an independent contractor is a very, very slick way of avoiding responsibility, employers avoiding responsibility. It's a sad proposition, actually, but it is the American way now. As we go through this coronavirus outbreak, and I'm driving in Washington, D.C. right now. I'm in Northwest D.C. in the Shaw neighborhood. There are no cars on the street virtually. I've had the streets to myself. Over the last 2 weeks I've been doing this. I cannot express how belittling this feels. Don't get me wrong, it's honorable, anyone who does it, and some people love doing it. I love serving people. I mean, I live to do that. In this capacity, it's extremely difficult. So I use what protective gear that I have as I go into the stores and pick up food and deliver it to people. I do my best not to touch their food or anything like that. And I don't even touch the packaging of the food. I'm embittered as the federal government, this Trump administration, has neglected to address the needs of working class people in this country. And just because you haven't filed your income taxes, or just because you don't have a job with a pay stub, it doesn't mean that you don't need to eat and live. And so the supposed Paycheck Protection Act, the sham, the I'm sorry money, yeah, I'm sorry. That's the Trump administration's way of saying I'm sorry for failing the American public in addressing the coronavirus outbreak, informing the public of what they knew early on. So, of course, the questions later will be, what did you know and when did you know it? And why didn't you tell somebody? I'm embittered every time I see your so-called President Donald Trump trying to monetize the epidemic. It's nothing short of criminal. Now, he's been running the office of the presidency much like a criminal enterprise for the 3.5 years he's been in office. And I hope that America doesn't get collective amnesia and forget how he responded in a national crisis. This has affected the lives of, it appears, all Americans. You know, and for those who say they would wanted a president who would run the country like a business, well, you're getting just what you deserve. It's a sad proposition that Americans have to be relegated to their households. And you have a president who fails to lead. One who, and when I say fail to lead, someone who had to basically been kicked in the ass on personal protection for individuals wearing a mask. And as a leader, he refuses to set the example, yet others around him have told him, you have to do this in order to save human lives. It's really a sad proposition that the fiscal health of the nation is more important to him than the physical health of the nation. I'm saddened by this, and I imagine you should be. I hope that you would be, as we watch people grieve over loved ones who have succumbed to this virus. This has been an amazing proposition to think that we have a president who cares more about the financial industries, the corporate entities in this country, more than the human being. One thing I know for sure is that when white people sneeze, the rest of us in America, we catch a cold. It's a sad proposition that there's so many in the Washington, D.C. area, Maryland, Virginia, Northern Virginia, who are contracting this virus. And again, my hope is that you don't get collective amnesia when it comes election time. You can best believe the reason why your so-called president has called this epidemic, this outbreak, like war, because he wants a declaration of war in this, where he can say that by decree that he'll extend his term in office. And there's some in Congress who will let that happen. Generally is the ones who are financially benefiting from your health, or in this case, your potential death. Let's not get collective amnesia, and remember that we have an administration that tried to, and is trying to, and is successfully monetizing the epidemic.
Red Media.